And I'm recording.
Got it. All right. Well, good evening, everybody, or whatever time it is. It's 7 o'clock Pacific time. Anybody new here today?
Don't think so.
No.
No. Anybody? No.
Yeah, hey, I'm new. Justin.
Oh, I'm sorry. There we go. Hi, Justin.
Who's it?
Hey.
Justin in the top left for me. Oh, he's got his hand up already. He's got a question.
Oh no,
Yeah,
I was just saying hi.
Oh, you were just
Nice
saying that you're here new. Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I've been watching on YouTube for a while. Thank you.
Okay, cool.
Great. All right. Anyone else? Anyone have any questions or topics they want to talk about under the umbrella of non-duality and duality?
Oh.
Let's limit the categories. You get.
Well, Justin's hand went up again. Did you do that
All
on
right,
purpose, Justin?
Yeah. Hey, so I have a question. So I'm in the program, but this non-duality is pretty new for me, and I guess my question is, I've had a lot of success with getting in touch with kind of the heart, my heart, and space opening up around that. And that's a question I really want to see if you could talk a little bit more on in working the steps and starting to recover some, some damage and some things. I know it's kind of a dualistic idea, but yeah, I think you could expand on that. I've watched a few of your videos, and I think this idea of the heart opening and space being created in that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, it's a terminology, but yeah, what happens is you observe that. You don't produce that. You observe it. So things change and you observe them. So then you observe there's a space opening and maybe you feel a little more raw and connected to that emotional, yeah? But one of the tail that's attached to that is that you had really nothing to do with it. Yes, you're at the effect of something that's working on you, so to speak. Yeah, or it's just working. Yeah. So that and if you read the big book when you first got introduced to it, certain things you read they would sound like orders. Yeah. Then after a while of being in recovery, you see they were just describing effects. So when it says cease fighting everyone or anything, yeah, it's to me when I first heard that it sounded like another order that I've got to do that I'm incapable of doing. So it was sort of like a added weight that I'd rather avoid. Yeah. And then I got obviously, oh, man, there was a lot of correction. And then I started to realize, no, these are the effects of an effect. You may call it they're the expressions of an effect stemming from the higher power, let's say. Yeah. And that's a whole different attitude than the one before. So now when I hear these things happening to people, it's clear to me that the person that idea of being a person really had nothing to do with it. Other than that, it was going to be the expression of it, and then the joy of observing it. Yeah, which is a great condition we're in. We can see something move through us, meaning being aware of it. We can't see it. Yeah. And then when the effects of that movement coming through appear, we're very clear that we had nothing to do with it. So it's almost like a built-in humility in a sense. Yeah. It's not something you have to work on. It's just obvious. Just like when I, in the extreme condition I was with active addiction, let's say to substances, it was very clear to me, even then when I was out to lunch, that something had done and is doing for me what I could not do for myself. Yeah. And then that got echoed over and over and over and over again, to the point it became the theme of recovery for me. Yes. It's the theme of it. So, and non-duality just illuminates that in a way. See, so there's a path. Let's call it recovery. The action figure may find itself on. Very rarely does it seem to choose it. Yeah, it's not out of virtue. It's out of fucking demoralization. You got nowhere else to go. So then you enter, and then something starts working on what you would call you, and then changes ensue. And what non-duality is the uninterrupted light not being so interrupted. Yes. So now the path of recovery gets illuminated by your basic condition, your inherent state. And maybe in the beginning of recovery, you were calling your inherent state a higher power, but you find that you're right there, right where it is at all times. So basically, Paul may be AKA the higher power. Yeah. So it's such a correction. It doesn't take much light uh, if you are the illumination of light. Yeah. Yeah. You don't need the days are probably over of earth-shattering events. Your attention is easily attracted by a ha, not even an aha, just an ah, It's not like someone has to be screaming in your ear to get your attention. You're available and you're present, so things become there's not so there's not a huge amount of effort to get through anymore. Yeah. Because used to think that it was have it be getting to, that you had to get it, but it's getting through. Yeah. And it's basically like the gateless gate. You're not the toll man for what's coming through. Yeah. You're observing it. And I feel in the observing of it and of its effects, it's just humility is the natural response and gratitude, and actually a lot of awe, AWE, and honoring. Yeah. It just seems like, yeah. So I don't set out on a course to be humble, because I feel when you're in humility, you don't know you're in humility, because part of the humility is a loss of interest in self. Yeah. And self is what's constantly interested in self and watching everything and how it means to it. Yeah. It's sort of, you can see it in a broad example, just like in surfing. You're out there totally engaged because it could be life or death in some level. And you're just no time to be dwelling upon you. You're just going and riding. But when you start coming out, it kicks in and goes, I hope someone saw me catch that big wave. Yes, it has a whole different agenda concerning the living of life. Yeah, it does. And yeah, so non-duality is an illumination of the path. The path that I found myself on as an action figure was recovery. So non-duality, the idea of that, which is the fact of what I am, is a constant illumination of whatever path you're on. Yeah, if it's house, mate or painter or whatever, you are that which you were seeking for. Yeah, which is beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. And of course, because being it, time and space doesn't play a huge role. Yeah. Because time and space would play a huge role in the seeker and the sought. The sought could be way, way far away in space, and it's going to take years through time to get there. Yeah. But when it's the seeker is the sought, it compresses time and space. Yeah, you are that. It cuts out so much of it just compresses it all. Yeah, and so you're that, and hopefully after a while, just coming to satsang is enough to reinforce it, because you already have it. It's already pulsating. Maybe you just need to. It's like if you had a very faint heartbeat, they'd have to keep the stethoscope on you for a while to pick it up. You pick it up very quickly. Yeah.
I keep believing that I keep believing that I think I did something. For example, I did something to get into that state.
The head is saying it believes that it's done something. See, this is what non-duality gives you. It gives you another step out of self that heretofore may not have been suspected. So, and that step is you are what you're looking for, and so you are before everything else. Instead of something that comes after the thinking and the feeling and the doing, you're before it all. Yeah. Now you can talk about it, but it won't do it justice. But to see from it, that's all you need. Yeah. It will be much more convincing than a volume of spiritual books in most cases. Yes, it will. Really, it's direct. It's directed. It doesn't have to go see, because if it's being presented out here to this it's got to go through intellect, misunderstandings, prejudices, mental grooves. But if it's coming from before, it doesn't have to. It actually brings light on those filters, and you see the bogusness of them. Yeah. So you're not having to. The food is already inherently there. You don't have to bring the food and then digest it and and go through everything. You're it. Yeah. So it's a much different, because a lot of people, when they get it from the head, of course, intellect becomes a problem for a lot of people hearing the message, because they think they know what it is, non-duality, yes? And they think they understand it completely intellectually, but it doesn't seem to be translating into any ease and comfort, yeah? Now, the message of non-duality doesn't necessarily see the attraction of the head sucks it in, but the non-duality can get through it to another message. Yeah, it doesn't have to, because you're not going to know it. You're not going to get it because you are it. Yeah, there's nothing else that can be said with this quality. Yeah. You're not the car, so you can get it and know it and understand how it runs. You're not this, you're not that, but you are that which you're looking for. This is the assumption of non-duality. And that's where the real relief comes from. It finally disarms all that drive to seek and everything else. And when you're seeking from that misunderstanding, there's a reliance on all those faculties of intellect, this and that, and they become the obstacles where they would be valuable if you had to arrive someplace and understand how to open up the lock of the door. But in this case, you are that already. Yeah. So the faculties produce a different effect than they do when you're searching or trying to understand something outside yourself, because non-duality is premising that you are that. You are reality. So I don't need to have an intellect to pick up reality and all these things, because I am that. Yeah. So all those things that seem to have been reliable for me to get an understanding or figure something out prove not reliable in this search, because this search isn't warranted, because you are what you're looking for. That's the beauty of it. Yeah. As it comes into a recovery, it just illuminates everything, because the big book of AA and the people who wrote it didn't get specifically clear of the exact nature of the wrong. They called it self, which was cool, but then they would switch back into I did everything, I have to do this. Yes, But self is like a foreign pathogen. Yeah. You need to have an image that it's not you to entertain being free from it. If you don't have that image or an idea that it's not you, you're entertaining being free as it. It's just that simple. Yeah. So when it was shown to me, I saw it as a foreign thing. And then when I was sharing at AA meetings or in the early days, I would call it a parasitical movement or something. Yeah. Because that was a pretty good translation of that which was being affected by that fucking addiction or the parasite was, yeah, this thing's sucking my life out of me. Yeah, it is. And it's not going to be a win-win. It's not going to be a kumbaya. It's going to be a lose-win. When it's winning, I'm losing. Yes. So yeah. So I first got struck sober around 1988. And then after 8 or 9 years, or maybe 7 years, I got it, 95 or so, I got introduced to non-duality. Yeah. So first, before the real illuminating quality, something had to be done first in this time-space continuum, and I had to get recovered. Yeah. That was essential in this storyline. It had to come first, or non-duality I would have looked at non-duality like a drug to get out of self, just like everything else I looked at. Yeah. So first I got hit sober, and then I was introduced to the light. Yeah. The light of non-duality. Yeah. And so in my feeling, it really illuminated all that was being implied by the big book. It became much more tactile to me because I saw if I'm that which is defeating me, how can I be free? Yes, because that which is defeating me is going to defeat me in the pursuit of freedom. Yes. So, and then that one morning, that day, I saw it wasn't me. I've never not seen it that way ever since. I don't have to chant, it's not me, it's not me, it's not me. I just was convinced that it's not me. I don't have to constantly keep convincing, because what you would be trying to convince is of it. Yeah? It's of the not me. You don't have to be convinced of what you are. You got to be convinced about what you're not. You do not have to be convinced about what you are. You're being what you are. There's no requirement of being convinced of that. You are that. What you need is being convinced of what you're not, really. And that's why it says non-duality, not two. It's a negation of our whole premise of the subjectiveness is an object. That's what the whole thing is. And non-duality is negating it. Yeah. So I need to be convinced of the truth. No, you don't. You need to be convinced of that which is appearing to be true as not being true. Yeah. Once you hit that point, all the heavy lifting is over, really. Yeah. I mean, yeah. We talk about it here a lot. We haven't done it in this specific way, but the sense of self is really the mental state's claiming of the sense of I am. Yeah. So the I am in spirituality is that which is constantly on with no sense of offness. Yeah. So like in the Bible, supposedly God said to one of the prophets, I am that I am. Yes. So this I am is what gives us a sense. Yeah. Now the head gives a name to that sense and says it's Paul. So the I am, by the claiming of it by the mental state, is used to fuel the story of I am Paul. And the story of I am Paul is never proved. It's I was Paul, I will be Paul, therefore I am Paul. Yeah. Yeah. But that I am, that sense is the onness. It's just been interpreted here to imply or to verify the story of Paul. Yeah, it has. So it all gets cleared up. Yeah. In this case, first things first was recovery. It had to happen. It had to be, or nothing else was going to land. It really wasn't. And so that occurred. And then I came to my senses, and not looking for it, I was introduced to non-duality. And then I just followed the crumbs that were being left, and it led me to where where it led me. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't look to like non-duality university or shit. It wasn't, I didn't sign up for 3 years of correspondent courses. I just heard it. Hey, there's this lady speaking at this park. You want to come? I go, sure. And then I heard it. Yeah. And it became the last answer. Really. Pretty good. So welcome. Thanks for coming, and come to we have the recovery meetings Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10:30 Pacific time, same Zoom. And then we can go more into the recovery there. Yeah.
And thanks, Justin. Gary has his hand up. Hey, Gary.
Gary.
Hi, Mike. Hi, Paul.
Hey.
Hey, I was, yeah, I'm just grateful for you right now for your message and everything. I just feel I want to say that because it makes a big difference, and it touches everything, touches all everything. So that's what I planned to say, but that's what coming up. So thank you. And
Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome. Yeah. Thanks. I was listening to last week's recovery, and I was intrigued by the idea you had of you've said it many times, but it was landing. You don't want to be an expert of how to get out of holes. You don't want to step in the hole in the first place.
Yes.
And there's something I don't know, that's a beautiful image, and I think it must apply here as well. I don't want to get stuck in selfing all day long and then come to Paul and say, well, you got to get me out of Paul, you got to get me out of Gary. I've been selfing all, it's like, no, I feel like I've done that a lot in my life, for like get in a hole and then try to climb out. And you're saying the message, you're saying, no, you don't have to step into a hole to be who you already are, and then discover that you're suddenly, not who you think you are. It's so I don't know if maybe you could talk about that in terms of non-duality, because it seems like it applies the same. I don't have to get all screwed up to get better.
Yes.
There's something simple going on here that the head has made very complicated.
Yes. Well, the idea of being a professor, it's happening in some respects in drug and alcohol addiction. Yeah. In one sense, people have just threw up their arms and surrendered and are just going for harm reduction. Not to let Jimmy not go get an 8-year prison sentence. Let's put him in about 8 rehabs in a row, even though he doesn't want to be there. Yeah. So this idea is a solution after the problem that still has a lot of the problem in it. Yeah. This is the beauty of non-duality. It reads the workings of recovery as something that's happening in an after state, but the whole solution is before all the states. Yes. So when you get recovered, you don't fall into the hole of being the person who's a recovered alcoholic. yeah, you lose any sense of being a noun, being either the noun of being a junkie or the noun of being recovered. Yes? You don't, you're not swapping one noun for another noun, even though it's an upgrade. Yeah.
That
The
would
noun
be
of being
no
someone who's
solution.
recovered.
That would not be a solution. That would be trading, with one half of the coin for the other
Well,
half of the coin.
exactly. So the idea of the professor of holes that keeps falling in the holes is just a way of imaging the idea of self-knowledge avails us nothing. Yeah. So the real key there's a beautiful thing in the AA book. It just says, it talked about all this shit that's going to happen to do, and then it says, well, obviously this would be pointless if you just didn't pick up the first drink.
Yeah.
You wouldn't need to have all this knowledge and all this shit to explain the unexplainable, that you're super fucked. Yeah. You just wouldn't drink. So to me, it's really weird. I don't know what role the non-duality has, but I feel like I never started drinking now. The idea of Paul as a drug addict and stuff is so fucking vague and out of touch. Yeah. So my whole idea, this isn't a program of stopping. It's a program of not starting. That's
Not
it.
starting.
You just don't start. So let's say if I don't start listening to my head, the false evidence doesn't seem to appear real, and then produce an effect by making a decision in me, causing consequences that bring me misfortune or other people misfortune. Yeah. Yeah. If I don't start. Now, if I start, then I have to stop. And there's a lot of skillful means how to do that. But ultimately, they don't seem to work. Yes. Because it seems to start again. So the beautiful thing is, I had to go that one way. I had to stop, not to start. But now I don't have to stop. I just don't start. Yeah. It's a whole difference. It's like, you're all dressed up with the sneakers and everything, but the starting line is the goal. You're already here. Yeah. Yeah. So the idea of being a professor of holes has a great value if everyone keeps falling into holes. But I would think that the knowledge of holes should lead you into not falling into holes. Yes.
That's old.
And so what happens is you don't stop falling into holes, you just don't start falling into holes. That's really the feeling of non-duality in recovery. It's that you phase before you don't start everything. Once you start all this shit, there's a you that gets attached. Now the beauty of non-duality is when the head starts doing all this shit, you see through the you that's implied to be attached. So you don't start. Yeah. Yes.
Or maybe you recognize it immediately, so it doesn't get any traction to start with.
Well, so much stuff goes by now because you're not paying attention. You know what I mean? You may have had 10 or 30 terminal diseases and you never noticed them and they came and went. It's when the head focuses on shit starts to manifest. Yes, doesn't it? Yeah. So
who knows?
basically, now you're not like a dammed up water source. You're more rivering. You're more streaming. Shit's just going and going and going. Nothing seems to stay. It just keeps going. And so, and it's you get the gratitude from the reverse engineering of the relief. You see why that which is always available at all times seemed not to have been available. You recognize it, very clearly. And you recognize that it's an add-on. There's so much doing, and there's never been a need for there to be a doer. But the doer, it's essential for there to be a doer. Yeah. But for doing to occur, there's no need for a doer. It's just an add-on. But to the doer idea, it's completely dependent on doing. Because how would you arrive at the idea that you're the doer without the doing occurring? Yes?
Yeah, it's dependent.
Totally dependent. So there's living, and then there's the interpretation of living. Yeah. The mental state gives us an interpretation of living, and the basic event is living. We're in the living event, and many of us may be addicted or listening to the interpretive event. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Easily corrected. It's easily corrected. It is. You just need to hear the possibility. And if it does, and if it runs into a lot of obstacles to get through, just keep hearing the possibility, and it triggers for sure.
It does. It does. It triggers. The ball bounces around and it rings something in there.
Yes, and there you go. And you didn't have to find a manual to arrive at that which gets wrong. It's already available at all times. You just lose interest in all this shenanigans, and it's like the lady who thought she lost the necklace. She never did. She just believed she had, to such a sufficient point, she never even felt the necklace. She just assumed the false evidence of the head saying, you lost your necklace. And so she believes it, and she's super bummed out, and she has to go through all this rigmarole to finally come to the conclusion of finding it again. And when she found it, there was a realization it was never lost. She just she never felt her neck. She had so much faith in the false evidence, she didn't even investigate. Yes? So, yes, what we're looking for is readily available at all times. And in most cases, sitting right here, it's the act of looking right now is fueled by what's looking. You're not looking. You are not looking. You can't see shit. It's the animation that's looking through the eye. The eye does not look. It facilitates something. Yes? Just like the camera facilitates something. But without the light, there's no picture. Yes?
Yeah.
So the eye facilitates seeing, what we call seeing, vision. Yeah? But it is not that which is seeing. It's consciousness or spirit is seeing. So you can, if you pass away and your eyes are perfect, they're not seeing a damn fucking thing. But if you transplanted that eye into a living person, that eye would facilitate seeing. It's not the eye that's seeing, obviously. Yes. These assumptions we completely rely on, and they're misunderstandings.
Yeah. That's clear. It's what is ringing true about what you said then and now is that I've been going the long way around. You know, like there's an old story that somebody's the wife, in order to cook the roast, she always cuts off both ends, and then that's how you do it. But she never knew why, and so I guess a kid asked her, well, why do you do that? Well, grandma always did that. And she goes back and asks grandma, and it's just like, well, I had a small pan, so I always had to cut the ends off in order for the roast to fit. But I mean, the point is, I've been going the long way around because that's what everybody else said that what you had to do. You had to made a lifetime journey to get to where you already are, or you know what I mean? It's like taking the long way around because that's what everybody said. That's the way to do it. But
that's okay, bro, because time doesn't matter really.
Yeah.
It matters only when you're seemingly in time. When you're out of time, it doesn't matter at all. So that's the whole idea on having never left. So I had it once. I swear I had one of those free samples. And it was because it was easy to remember because it was in the hospital and I was having an operation on my leg. So I was on local anesthesia. I wasn't completely out, but they built the wall so I couldn't look at the legs while they were working on it.
Mhm.
And I went off. The light was it was a big aluminum bowl, and they had the lights. And I went off, and I just felt so incredibly exquisite. And then the feeling of time came up, and the only thing that could be said was, I don't care whatever had to happen before this to have this sense of this. Yes?
Yeah.
And then that sense of this says it's always been this way. So all that belief that I took the long way around is just part of the story.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't matter when you arrive at now, it's always now. Yeah.
It sure is
Yeah.
welcome news.
Yes, we use the example with the dreaming. Remember, if you're dreaming of having a 5-second gulp of a Slurpee, and then the next night you dream of a 300-year epic where you're 8 incarnations of different people and shit. Yes, how
Yeah.
long does it take to wake up from both dreams?
The same.
Exactly, because it doesn't matter. When you're outside of it, the time that's so relevant in those dreams has absolutely no influence in the awakening to it. Yeah?
Yeah.
You don't have to take 3 months to wake up from a 300-year dream. It's exactly as long or as short as the 5-second Slurpee thing. Yes? Because time was only influential when you were in it. When you're out of it, time is
Okay.
seen as not influential. You're it, bro. You are it. You are reality. Yeah. How can you, what else could make time go slow or fast? Do you think you can? If you could, you would try to make it go, faster when you were working, and slower, let's say, if you were making love. Yes? Yeah. Yes, wouldn't you? You would love to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but on a bad day, you giving the meaning of the day being bad, time seems to go so slow. Who do you think's doing that, or has a role in that? Us. It isn't like time it's got a gear and it's waiting for you, and then it slow rolls you. Out of billions, they just said there's 8 billion people here now. Do you think time is watching out for you? And I'm going to fuck with Gary for a little while. It fucking feels like forever. We're it. We're giving everything all the meaning it has. And one of it is time. Now, this isn't about, I'm going to do something about it. No, it's about recognizing. Yeah, I'm not asking. This is not a call to arms. I'm going to speed up time or slow time. No, just tell the fucking truth through your own observations. Yes? Just see it. Somebody's right next to me. The day's going super fast for them. I'm there. Yeah. I'm not liking it. It's going super slow. You don't see it? If time was real, we would be subjected to its reality. It would go the same speed as to everyone else. It's subjective of us. Yeah. We're the dreaming. We're the dreaming of time. Or really dreaming in time. Yeah. Does this mean everything stops? All the clocks in the house stop when I walk by? No. It still does the same old shit. I just know a little bit better than I used to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of, pointing the finger at all things that have really nothing to do with it, I finally find out the real culprit. The only thing that could be fooled, how could any illusion fool reality unless reality wanted to be fooled by it? I mean, wouldn't reality be able to see through illusion? Wouldn't you think on a just
You would think
conceptual
so.
understanding? Yeah, reality seems to be something unbelievable. How could it be fooled? Yet
Mm,
we seem to be fooled all day by false evidence.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
suddenly the false evidence appear to be real. Where did they get that appearance of real from? Not from the false evidence, from us. Yeah? We're the
Yeah.
one that allows false evidence to appear to be real because we're reality. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is
So I have a question in there.
do you?
Yeah. But it's like, so the thought comes to me of like, wow, this idea of not being a professor of holes, not even stepping in the hole, is a representation of being already home. It's like, oh, there's no distance, there's no
Yes.
time. Oh, I'm very glad to hear that. I'm glad that idea presented that way. It may not last forever, but I guess you call that I don't know what you call it, a moment of clarity. It's like,
Yes.
it's very welcome. Thank God, because it seems like it took days and hours and weeks to come home before. And this is saying the bridge is so short that it's not
Yes.
even a bridge.
There you go. Yeah, and in a way, you could say it's a clarity in the moment, not a moment of clarity, but clarity
Okay.
in the moment. And clarity in the moment is in every moment. Now, sometimes it gets observed, sometimes it doesn't, but it doesn't mean it's not there. Yes, there's always clarity in every moment. Yes, of course. So yeah, I'm happy. I think
Anyway,
there's a very lovely, soothing statement in the Course in Miracles, and that's why I use it, because I felt it myself. Which is, all right, if you're not making the grade of complete, absolute transcendence and the embodiment in the ordinary realm of the truth,
mm,
you're going to dream yourself out of this dream, and as you do, the dream's going to get happier. Yes, there you go. So you're going to
that's
use
pretty good.
all of this stuff, time, space, relations, things, conditions changing. We're going to dream ourselves out of the dreaming. So you're going to use the dreaming to dream oneself out of the dreaming. You could see that as your life, bro, and you wanted to walk through the garden a few times more. Great. Doesn't
Mm,
matter. You're dreaming yourself out of the dreaming.
mm,
Yeah.
not so
And
bad.
when you do, it's not like it's going to be an eternal dream. The dream's going to end, and it'll be like it never happened. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Paul.
You're welcome, Gary. Thank you. I'm always, I was happy that we met that time up in Grass Valley or wherever it was.
Yeah,
Yeah. Nice to see you.
thanks.
All right. Anyone else, Mike?
Yeah, and thanks, guys. I like that whole discussion. Esteban has his hand up.
Mike worked on that one. The whole.
Well, actually, it's because I had an image of one of your old.
Looking at about 5 minutes before.
Because one of your old illustrations that you haven't talked about in a long time, the slinkies. I had the image of the slinky going from hole to hole instead of going down the stairs.
That's right.
Yes, I had to slip it in.
Oh, that's good. I just saw a show with a slinky in it. It was free. I hadn't seen one in a long time.
A good show.
It triggered the whole slinky example. All right. Anyone else there?
Yeah, Esteban. Hi, Esteban.
Hey,
Esteban. Yes.
Esteban.
Esteban.
Esteban. Yeah, no problem. Good night to everyone, and good night to you, Paul. I just want to ask you if you can talk a little more about we are the right and how that relates to the dreaming and to going out of the dreaming. That you said we are the
Well,
right.
let's say the dreaming would be, in a way, a differentiation of light, yes? So light would become differentiated, or seemingly. That's why it's a dream. Seemingly is the true basis. It's appearing to be true. So the way we perceive this place, it appears to be true that if all there is light, light has differentiated into a lot of forms and appearances, yeah?
Yeah.
So you would say that's the dreaming. And to facilitate the dreaming, it needs those two ideas of space and time, because you need space to see something, yeah, like an object, and you need time to see it, yes?
Mm-hmm.
So time and space is essential in the dreaming, let's say, yeah? And the dreaming, if you sucked it all back into the camera, it would be, and it has always been, undifferentiated light. Let's use that example, yeah? So light going through this mechanism, not a physical mechanism, but let's just call the mechanism of dreaming, yeah? So undifferentiated light, sort of like going through a set of lenses and getting, fractured and, yeah? So that's how I see it, as a conceptual understanding. I never
No,
think
but
light
yeah,
anyway.
yeah. But you said that we are the right. Do you mean that
We are
the
the dreaming. We are the light, and we are the dreaming. Yes.
and the ride? We are in a ride, or the life is a ride.
Right or light? Light. Light.
No, he's saying ride, RIDE. That we
Oh,
are
the
the ride.
RIDE,
You can't get it.
the
You can't get
ride.
out of the ride.
Oh, in that, yeah, that's how there's an appearance in the dreaming, which is this object. Yes. And so this object is actually a ride in the dreaming, but this ride has been given the name as us. Yes. So there's been an identification. I'm not saying there's anyone identified, but I would believe the mental process keeps inferring that's the case. So there's an identification as the dreamt. Yeah. So that's another reason why I don't like spending a lot of time trying to convince the dreamt it's the dreaming. We always are attempting to speak to the dreaming about the dreamt. Yes. So when we're speaking about differentiated light, the target is to undifferentiated light. Yeah, because the true understanding of differentiated light would come and be held from undifferentiated light. Yes,
Right.
not from differentiated light, because light could only imagine itself to be differentiated then. Yes. So when the dreamt starts trying to figure shit out about the dreaming, it doesn't seem to me work well. Yeah. So like a lot of times in the early days, people come to talks and whoever was watching the door, they'd come up to him and say, I don't know. Everything this guy says is going over my head. And so one of the people who ran the door this one time asked me, well, what about that, Paul? And I said, well, that's where we're aiming. we're attempting to aim over the person's head. The dreamt is the obstacle in this dreaming. It's not going to be the receiver of the message. It's the obstacle to the message. So basically, we're trying to get around it, under it, over it. We're not trying to get to it. Yeah. So that's the theme of all the talks, is where I'm feeling from the connection, even with this thing of a Zoom, there's still a sense of presence here. That's what's talking and where we're talking to. We're not talking to the idea of I was and I will be. We're talking to the is, from the is, let's hope. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
So the idea of getting the message is hearing it. not being the hearer of it. It's the hearing of the message. Yeah, not the hearer of the message. The hearer of the message, in most cases, the message has been neutered. Yes, because the head has claimed the hearing and I'm the hearer of it. Yeah, and now all you're going to hear is your opinions about what you thought you heard. And you're not going to fit into it. You're going to fit it into you. Yes, you're not going to surrender and give yourself to the message. You're going to suck the message in and fit it into your little ideas. Yes, I know it. It's just the way it goes. Nothing right or wrong with it, but it's good to know how it works. Yeah. So the point of this message is to get around you. And if one of the qualities of what is everywhere, I can't miss it. I can miss you. You're a somewhere. So I'm not going to throw the message to that somewhere. I'm going to miss the somewhere and get it to everywhere. Yeah. And when everywhere hears about somewhere, it's a lot different than somewhere trying to hear about everywhere. Everywhere hearing about somewhere, to me, is the correct direction. Seriously. Yes. Serious. I mean, truly, I joke around a lot, but I'm very serious about that. Yes. Yeah. I don't care about you getting it. I don't. I hope you don't, really. I don't. Because you are it. Yeah. 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 It's going to dawn, I'll tell you. It's just, once the screw turns, oh, you'll get the whole metrics of everything. It's just a matter of time here. Through satsang, the screw is going to turn and you're going to see something in a way you've never saw it, but you've always been seeing. It's going to have it could be a tiniest little move, but it's going to have a huge impact. And in the dreaming, it's only a matter of time. You just keep hearing it. That's what happened with me. Just like the time with seeing self as foreign. Yeah. I had read that sentence in the big book of AA thousands of times. I led fourth step workshops all around the world. And then the one time I saw it as foreign, yeah, it just triggered a whole change. I was trying to use like a stethoscope as a telescope, yeah? And then everything got sort of named correctly and things, yeah, it just worked, yeah? So I have a lot of faith in us, what we are, and I have a lot of faith in the vehicle of satsang also. I do.
Good. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Esteban. No other hands up right now.
Because we are the truth, and then satsang is the association with truth. Very cool. Yeah. Sat means truth, and sang means association or community. So the association of truth is satsang, and we're the truth. Not bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
How can you miss it? It can only go on temporarily. The house of cards falls very sooner or later. Usually when it falls, it was never really erected. But yeah, it'll fall. Yeah, yeah.
Good.
And if not, you'll lose interest in it anyway, and you'll just be traveling lighter. And what more do you want, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you imagine if you come to one talk a week, an hour? You don't even have to wear pants, no fucking shoes. You could just be totally chilled. You're in your own little setting, no gas gets used, nothing. And and there's no requirements. No one's asking you to do homework or fucking anything. And you have to tell the truth. You're traveling lighter since you started coming to the satsang. There you go.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of the traveling lighter is you lose interest in light. You are it. You don't need to be interested in it.
Stop asking about it. Yes, stop asking about it.
And you're here all day, wherever you are. You can never not hear, really. And I think, with all that movement, it never stops with all the goals you think you've attained. It just keeps seeking. With this message, it stops. Seeking stops. Yeah, there's no looking for what you are anymore with what you are. It can stop. It doesn't mean you may be interested in reading scriptures and shit like that, and all great, but there'll be that one engine that never gets turned off. You'll see it as off. There'll be a pause. Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, very disarming. And your lungs are there to receive the breath you just took in. You're not moving constantly. Yeah.
Yeah. The agitation.
Yes, the agitation. Yes, there's a lot of levels of agitation. Yes, there's an agitation beneath most agitations. Yeah, that's where the relief is. The head will get agitated. The action figure gets agitated, but its roots can't go deep. Yeah, it just passes quickly because it can't. There's nothing to hold because
Right.
the underlying agitation has been smoothed out, so to speak. Yes.
Right. The agitation
Like in AA, we say this thing, irritable, restless, and discontent. You could look at content and satisfied would be like the opposite of that. Yes.
Mhm.
So when someone who is content and satisfied, they're not looking to get out of irritability, restlessness, and discontent. There's a real relief from that whole drive. Yes.
Yeah.
You're freed. See, like here, the real liberation is from the need to be liberated. You just get liberated from all of these ideas that innocently you heard, let's say in spiritual groups, but the head made monsters out of them. Yes. And another way of berating you and pointing out how bad you are, and you're a failure, with I haven't awakened yet, or I should be enlightened. It just causes more fucking suffering when the head receives it. Yeah.
Right.
You get freed from all that. Yes.
The agitation is like a hurricane.
Hmm?
Before I listened to non-duality, the agitation was more like a hurricane that you were into it and you cannot get out. Now I can see it. I can see the agitation, and it's not mine, and I'm rooted somewhere else, not going around.
Yes. And if you can see the agitation, you're not of the agitation, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for the message, and thank you for that, because it's very important. Very important.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for coming, bro. Yeah, I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right,
And
Mike.
we got Harry's hands out of the dark.
I lost you there.
Can you see me? Coming in.
Hari.
Okay,
Barely.
there you go.
Hari, hey, listen, Hari.
Yeah.
We'll take up a donation to get your lights turned back on. I don't know what's with
I
they're
just, it's not
red.
as dark as it looks.
Now you're in the dark. What are you? You're on a dark retreat?
In a couple of weeks, actually. I do it at home though. So I'm not paying any guru for that stuff. I'm just doing it at home. You were joking, weren't you? Okay.
I know not to joke about that
Weird.
drive in Hari. No.
Oh my God. Look, Paul, listening to you is like a garden walk through a metaphor parade of great beauty. And I got stuck on the last answer. You said something like I was trying to use a stethoscope for a telescope, and my mind just completely doesn't get that. and it might not be worth asking, but do you remember what were you trying to say? Because
No,
okay.
no, I was trying to say a total misapprehension of the use of a tool.
Okay.
Yeah. In other words, applying it for what it's meant to do, you were applying it for some fucking other crazy idea.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it. Thank you. That's it.
But I think I'd rather not answer so that you'll think it's a lot more mystical than I may be. Yes.
No, I'm good.
Oh, you're good, honey. Good, Hari. I love you, Hari. I love you.
We'll talk about Dark Retreat sometime.
Jesus. They're coming up with some doozies now. Yes.
I've been doing it for like a year now. It's great. What can I say? I love this kind of stuff.
It's just, it's.
So it's not just low and tiny in the house. It's really bright. I thought you were joking and you thought I was joking. Anyway.
No. Oh.
Thank you, Paul.
Hari. Yeah.
Make sure you take a stethoscope in with you.
Sorry. Eh?
Make sure she takes a stethoscope in there with her.
That's right.
This telescope will be of no use. I can tell you now. Anyone else, bro?
No other hands. No.
All right, that's good. Such a pleasure to be with everybody. Let me say goodbye to Mike. Mike has been with us for quite a while. He does so much service for a lot of people, but a lot for Zen Bitch Slap. And yeah, just a lot of gratitude for meeting Mike Z. We got William S. I'm hoping William's traveling a little lighter. That's helpful. Happy. We got Kerry in Hawaii. Pass on the message to Judith. Yes. Hello. David from down under. Yeah. You're going to have to change your uniform, David, soon. It should be getting hot there, eh?
Yeah, it should be, Paul, but it's not. Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
We
good.
got
Thanks.
Bill. We got Bill and Kathleen. There they are. Yeah. I'd be happy if I was going back to a family Thanksgiving and I opened the door and you two were on the couch. That would make me very happy. Yes, thank you. We got Michael S. Michael Sherman. Nice to see you, Michael. He looks like he's swallowed the canary. It's very nice. Yeah, that's good. It's a good sign. Jack G. There he is, man. It's looking nice over there. You're at that house still in Cape. Yeah, great. Very, very fantastic. You deserve it, Jack. Yes. You actually don't, but let's say you do. You deserve it. So we got Walter. Walter, the brother from another mother in the Netherlands. Esteban M. I'm very happy you've shown up to our Zoom. Pleasure. Justin, welcome. It's nice to meet you and hope to see you again. Stuart, there he is, another ASEAN. There he goes. Stuart has been tight-lipped lately. That's good, eh? Yeah, pretty good. We've got Gary C.
Thanks, Paul.
Welcome, Gary. Sherry, as always, there she is down south. Mia, also down south in San Diego. Clifford, I think he's still in Chiang Mai. Yes. We got James on the iPhone. We got Hari, and she's in the dock retreat, the dock that's the pre-dock retreat. Yeah, yeah. So you go to the retreat, and then when you get home, you got to stay in the dock so that the dock retreat's effects can last. Yeah, that's good. Tyler, always a pleasure. Teaching school in Mendocino area. That's very cool. Jenny, I don't know where you are, Jenny, but I'm happy to see you. Yeah. Tej, the same thing. There he is. Nina, yes. Never Mina, never Tina, always Nina. Yes. Thank you for everything, Nina. It's been a pleasure to meet you. And yeah, we have a very nice picture in that book they did from Italy, you and I. Yeah, I'm happy to have one of those. We've got Robin. Robin has reappeared. Yes, that's nice to see her. She was Miss Amelia. There she is. She's not far. She's never far in my heart, but geographically, she's not far either. Yeah, yeah. Bruce, Lucas. Who else we got here? We've got Matthew F. Alan from the Olsen brothers. Another Matthew, Lucas, Bruce, Susanna W. I would imagine. Let's see who else here. I think that's it. So we've got those people. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you for coming, guys. And again, just Zen Bitch Slap event page has all the Zooms. Tomorrow we do a recovery one at 10:30 Pacific time. And yeah, I hope to see you soon. And yeah, don't take yourselves too seriously, as we say. Adios.
Thank you. Good night.
Hi,
Thank you.
thank
Good
you.
night.
Thanks, Paul.